And hello YouTube, this is GSmaniamsmart, and I'm today on a brand new video for tutorials of GS. In today's tutorial, we're going to be talking about Adobe After Effects and how to create a cool map traveling effect, or this is also known as the trim paths effect. Sort of when you have a path that you've drawn and it basically moves from one location to the next location, and you can edit that path a little bit. But I'm going to be doing this effect on a map because that's what a lot of productions use it for. So you're going to see it's a really cool effect, and I like it a lot. And you can customize it many different ways. So I'm going to go ahead and start a new composition. Now, if you don't know how to make a new composition, I have a tutorial all about animations and compositions. Be aware that this tutorial does require some animation in Adobe After Effects, and you can make this effect look a lot better with more advanced animation. So if you haven't watched my animation tutorial yet, which also includes some information about compositions, you should probably watch that before you watch this. However, if you're familiar with Adobe After Effects, then you'll be okay. We're going to go ahead and go 1920 by 1080, nothing wrong with that, and 30-second clip is fine. I'm going to go ahead and import my map that I found. Desktop. Where's my map at? Here it is. Okay, so first thing you want to do obviously is drag whatever you're going to be using onto your composition. For me, it's going to be map of Tyria, and I guess this is fine. We're going to do some animation to it. Now the first thing you want to do is go to layers, then go to new layer, and then you're going to click shape layer. And when you have that, the next thing you want to do, in fact, I'm actually going to make this layer a bit smaller so I can see the whole map. To do what I'm doing, all you have to do is hold down, click on one of these little squares, and then hold Shift, and you can resize it to whichever aspect ratio you like. Now, eventually, we are going to be making this big again, but for now, we're going to keep it at this size just so I can demonstrate you the effect. Anyway, you want to stay on your shape layer right here, and then you're going to go overhead to the pen tool. Go ahead and click the pen tool, and then we're going to go ahead and put a dot here, a dot here, a dot here, dot here, dot here, 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 and here. And yeah, that's fine. So now we have this basically these map traveling paths, and we want to animate this so that it looks like it's moving. Now the way to do that, also before you do this, make sure that you have your fill up here. Make sure you have your fill set to none. Also make sure that you have your stroke set to the color that you want your path to be. And also make sure that you have a somewhat decent size. You don't want to make it too small. If you put anything like 10 or 11, it may not be big enough, especially for a 1920 by 1080 resolution. But 25 is typically good enough. And that'll be it for your options up there, and then you can use your pen tool to make your lines. But after that, we're going to go ahead and hit the down arrow here. And we're going to go to Contents, go to Shape 1, and then we're going to go to Add right here. and you're going to click Trim Paths. Then you're going to go to the Trim Paths down arrow here, and your start should be 0, 0, and your end should be 0, 0 as well. And then we're going to go and add a keyframe there. And I want this traveling to take 20 seconds, because we're going to be doing some other stuff. Let's do 20 seconds. That's fine. Actually, yeah, it's fine. Let's do 20 seconds for now. And then wherever you want it to stop, you're just going to go ahead and make your end value 100. If you want to change the offset a bit, you can play with that too, but generally you don't really need that. After that, you want to go ahead and go to stroke, hit the down arrow on stroke, and then we're going to go ahead and add dashes here. Click the plus button, and you'll see now we have dashes. You also want to go ahead and click plus button next to dashes again, and you'll get a gap option, and you'll get the dash option. For this, I recommend you zoom in a bit so you can visualize it better. And basically, the higher your dash value, the less dashes there will be. The lower your dash value, the more dashes there will be. And I think we're going to use, I think this is fine. The higher your gap value, the more space between your dashes. The lower the gap value, the less space between your dashes. You can also mess with the offset here, as you'll see that will change that. However, like I said, not that big of a deal. So we'll just keep it the way it is. After that, we want to go up to the layer mode, which is right here. And we want to change this to multiply. Now in this picture it won't be as noticeable, however on several other images the multiply effect will really make this look a lot better. So after that, we want to go ahead and zoom out, and we're going to RAM preview this just to see that it actually works. Let's go to throw it to 100%, and let's see how this looks. As you can see, we have our dashes here. And they're following our path. All the way to the end. So that's basically the basics of this. There's several other things you could do. One thing that I'm going to be doing, actually, to make this look a lot better, is we're actually going to implement another type of animation, which will follow the path with a camera. So we'll basically be flying over the map, and the camera will be following the path. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to go ahead and grab both of these layers. Well, both of these layers, highlight them, and then you're going to go up to composition, and you want to click, I think it's pre-render? No, it's not pre-render. I think it's pre-compose. Where is pre-compose? Is it layers? Pre-compose. There we go, at the bottom. And pre-comp fine is fine. And what this will do, it'll basically merge your layers together. That way, when we're scaling this down, your layers won't, like, not only one layer will scale down, all the layers will actually scale together. This is a good idea to use if you're doing something like this, so that you can save yourself time. So now that we have a pre-comp here, now we can go ahead, and if you ever wanted to change anything within this composition, all you gotta do is double click it, and it'll bring you to this composition where your layers are. And that's the cool thing about After Effects. It's a composition based editor, so you can have several compositions and put them all together. So now we're gonna be in this composition right here, which has our pre-comp in it, and we're gonna go ahead and make this a little bigger. Grab our select tool, and we're gonna go ahead and hold down here and just make this a little bigger so it fills up the screen nicely, which works right about there. I hate when that happens. Oh, come on. Oh, wait. There we go. I think I screwed this up. There we go. And now what we can do, we can actually animate this composition. So if we hit our down arrow here, go to transform, we're actually going to go ahead and scale this up a little bit so it looks like we're zoomed in. And if you want to work in full quality here to sort of, visualize better, do not pre-render in full though, because that'll take forever. And we're basically gonna go to the starting location of our little map travel thing, and we see it's right here. I may want to change the stroke size here a little bit. We're actually gonna do that. So we're gonna go into our pre-comp here and go into our shape layer, go to our contents, shape, and well, you could do it up here as well. But we're gonna go ahead and change this to 15 maybe. I think that's better. Then we go back to our pre-comp here, as you can see the size adjusted as well. Alright, so basically what we want is to follow this path. So we're gonna set our first position keyframe right here at the start, and we're not gonna change its movement until we get right about here. And the trick to add another keyframe here is just to change the very last value at the end to like 1 higher, because it's not gonna make a huge difference. And then from here on, we want to start to move the camera until it gets to oh, come on. Why isn't that going? Why isn't my... There we go. Now my marker's moving. I think it's because I have it on full settings. Let me turn it back on the third. Alright, so until we get to right here, and then we're going to go ahead and move the camera down to here. After that, we're going to keep on going, and when we get to that point, we're going to move the camera down here. After that point, we're going to move the camera down here. And then once we hit this island, we're going to move the camera down here. Then we go back up right here. Then we head over. And you'll see that we have some black space here, so we're going to go ahead and press Control Z just to go back one, and that'll be the end of the animation there. So now that we've added our keyframes for our basically our camera angles, if we were to RAM preview this now, being a little jumpy. Alright, there we go. And I noticed that we have an error here. You'll see that we sort of move out there. Don't know why we move out like that. Should not be happening. Let's go ahead and I'm going to delete this keyframe. That's fine. So as you can see, we're going up, then we're going down, and the camera is following our marks on the map. And this is a really cool effect that you can't really do on any other editors. You can't do this in Movie Maker or Premiere Pro. So After Effects makes it really cool to watch this and to edit some of this. You could use this for, you know, some type of movie you're making, or some type of cinematic, or some type of animation you're making. Obviously, you know, this isn't perfect. You could add a bunch of other stuff, but this is a great effect if you don't need it for a specific purpose, and it actually runs pretty smoothly. Now, if you ever get into a situation where you feel like your camera's moving a bit too fast, an easy fix to that is just moving these keyframes a little forward or a little back. You can actually grab these keyframes and move them around. So in case you ever feel like, oh, the camera's moving too fast, if it's moving too fast, just move the keyframe back more. If the camera's moving too slow, move the keyframe forward more. And that's the trick to that. So that's pretty much it. One other thing I wanna touch on is that if you don't like these very, you know, these very, what's it called, these very sudden turns, if you want to make some curves into it, what you can do is go into your pre-comp again, and let's go ahead and zoom in for this so I can demonstrate and show you. So what you can do is you can actually make sure you have your shape layer selected, and hold down at the bottom right corner of your pen tool, and you can convert Vertex tool, and there you go. You can actually make it curved here. So if you like the curviness a little more, then you can do that for each of your little points. However, if not, then it doesn't really make a difference. It does look sort of nice with curves, as you see. Pretty cool. So that's an option. If you like to do that, you can do that as well. And it does make it look a little more natural as well, rather than it just looking like it was drawn on. If we were to go over here now and replay this, you see we get a nice curve there, which looks really cool. So that's pretty much it for the tutorial. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully you've learned something from it. It's a very simple effect. However, it's a very easy effect and a great tutorial for people who are just beginning to understand After Effects, because you learn about pre-compositions, you learn about, you know, how to manipulate compositions within other compositions, you learn about effects, adding effects, and even animation. And it looks really cool, the effect. So if you have any questions, definitely leave them in the comments below. If you have any suggestions for our viewers, and you may have ideas to make this look cooler, then definitely leave it in the comments. There are many things you could do with this, but this is just a basic tutorial. If you can even, if you wanted to, you could even, for example, if you didn't like the fact that, you know, this the line is going over the piece of land, you can even make several different shape layers so that it doesn't overlap the land here, and you can basically just have the lines go to the land and then come out, well, skip the piece of land and come out underneath the land again if you have multiple layers. So you could tell with multiple layers, but that shouldn't be too difficult, especially if you're familiar with Photoshop. Or a simpler way, you could just make several of these shape layers and just go from one piece of land to the next, and then have several shape layers to do that. But that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching, and I'll be making more After Effects tutorials in the future. As usual, I've been mostly focusing on GIMP and Photoshop, though, because those are a lot easier to make, and more people use those programs. But if you want to see more After Effects tutorials, definitely leave it in the comments and leave a like so I know, and I'll definitely make some more of them. Thank you for watching, and I hope this video helped you out in any way. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. It'll really help me out. If you didn't like it, you can leave a comment as well, giving some feedback. If you have any other comments or questions, please leave them in the comments as well, and I'll do my best to answer them. I usually respond to comments within 24 to 48 hours, depending on your question and depending on how busy I am. I have plenty of other content on my channel about different software tutorials and how-to videos, so if you're interested in that type of stuff, check it out. And if you like what you're seeing, you can subscribe too. Really appreciate it. You can also check out my other channels and social media as shown on the screen right now. And with that, thank you so much everyone, and this is GSmaniamsmart, and I'll be back sooner than you think. Don't go anywhere.